नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from 10th canto, chapter 22, verse number 20. The chapter is entitled as Krishna Steals the Gopis' Garments. So gets familiar with the words of the shloka. Iti achyutena abhihitam vrajabalaha matva vivastra aplavanam vrajochutim tatpurti kamaha tat ashesha karmanam sakshat kritam nemuhu avadyamrik yataha iti achyutena bhitam vrajabala ityachyutena bhitam vrajabala ityachyutena bhitam vrajabala matva vivastra plavanam vratachutim tatpurti kamastad asesha karmana sakshat kritam nemur avadya mrigas yataha ityachyutena bhitam vrajabala ityachyutena bhitam vrajabala matva vivastra plavanam vrajachutim tatpurti kamastad sesha karmana sakshat kritam nemur avadya brigayata iti achyutena bhitam vrajabala matva vishvatra plavanam vratachutim tatpurti kamastat asesha karmanam sakshat kritam nemur avadya brigayataha yatyachyuta vihitam vrajabala matva vishwastra palam vraje chutim tatpurti kama sadasesha karmana sakshat kritim nemuravadya mrigayataha iti achyutena bhitam vrajabala matva vivastra plavanam vrajachutim tatpurti kamastadasesha karmanam साक्षात्कृतं नेमुरवद्यमृग्यतः इत्याच्युतेनाभिहितं व्रजाबला मत्वा विवस्त्रप्लवनं व्रजच्युतिम् तत्पूर्तिकामस्तदशेषकर्मणाम् साक्षात्कृतं नेमुरवद्यमृगयतः इत्याच्युतेनाभिहितं व्रजाबला मत्वा विवस्त्रप्लवनं व्रजच्युतिम् तत्पूर्तिकामस्तदशेषकर्मणाम् साक्षात्कृतं नेमुरवद्यमृगयतः माताजी's इत्याच्युतेनाभिहितं व्रजबला मत्वा विवस्त्राप्लवनं व्रतच्युतिम् तत्पूर्तिकामस्तदशेषकर्मणाम् साक्षात्कृतं नेमुरवद्यमृगयतः इत्याच्युतेनाभिहितं व्रजाबला मत्वा विवस्त्राप्लवनं व्रतच्युतिम् तत्पूर्तिकामस्तदशेषकर्मणाम् साक्षात्कृतं नेमुरवद्यमृग्यतः. Word by word meaning. Iti, in these words, Achyutena, by the infallible Supreme Lord, Abhihitam, indicated, Vraja Abalaha, the girls of Vraja, Matva, considering, Vivastra, naked, Aplavanam, the bathing, Vrajachutim, a fall down from their vow, Tat Purti, the successful completion of that, Kamaha, intently desiring, Tat, of that promise, Asesha Karmanam, and of unlimited other pious activities, Sakshat Kritam, to the directly manifest fruit, Nemuhu, they offered their obeisances, Avadyamrik, the cleanser of all sins, Yataha, because. Translation by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Thus the young girls of Vrindavan, considering what Lord Achyuta had told them, accepted that they had suffered a fall down from their vow by bathing naked in the river. But they still desired to successfully complete their vow. And since Lord Krishna is himself the ultimate result of all pious activities, they offered their obeisances to him to cleanse away all their sins. Purport. The transcendental position of Krishna consciousness is clearly described here. The gopis decided that it was better to renounce their so-called family tradition and traditional morality and simply surrender to the Supreme Lord Krishna. This does not mean that the Krishna consciousness movement advocates immoral activities. In fact, the devotees of ISKCON practice the highest standards of restraint and morality. But at the same time, we recognize the transcendental position of Krishna. Lord Krishna is God and therefore has no material desire to enjoy young girls in sexual affairs. As will be seen in this chapter, Lord Krishna was not at all attracted to enjoying the gopis. Rather, he was attracted to their love and wanted to satisfy them. The greatest offense is to imitate the activities of Lord Krishna. In India, there is a group called Prakrata Sahajya, who imitate these affairs of Krishna and try to enjoy naked young girls in the name of worshipping Krishna. The ISKCON movement sternly rejects this mockery of religion, because the greatest offense is for a human being to ludicrously imitate the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the ISKCON movement, there are no cheap incarnations, and it is not possible for a devotee of this movement to promote himself to the position of Krishna. 500 years ago, Krishna appeared as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who practiced strict celibacy throughout his student life and at the age of 24 took sannyas, a lifelong vow of celibacy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rigidly avoided contact with women in order to carry out his vow of loving service to Krishna. When Krishna personally appeared 5,000 years ago, he exhibited these wonderful pastimes which attract our attention. We shall not become envious or shocked when we hear that God can perform such pastimes. Our shock is due to our ignorance, because if we try to perform these activities, our bodies will be afflicted by lust. Lord Krishna, however, is the supreme absolute truth and is therefore never disturbed by any material desire whatsoever. Thus, this incident in which the gopis gave up normal standards of morality and raising their hands to their head, bowed down in compliance with Krishna's order. It is an example of pure devotional surrender and not a discrepancy in religious principles. In fact, the gopi surrender is the perfection of all religion. As Srila Prabhupada described in Krishna, the Supreme Person of Godhead, the gopis were all simple souls, and whatever Krishna said, they took to be true. In order to be free from the wrath of Varuna Dev, as well as to fulfill the desired end of their vows, and ultimately to please their worshipful Lord Krishna, they immediately abided by his order. Thus they became the greatest lovers of Krishna and his most obedient servitors. Nothing can compare to the Krishna consciousness of the gopis. Actually, the gopis did not care for Varun or any other demigod. They only wanted to satisfy Krishna. Om Ajnanati Mirandasya Jnananjaya Shalakaya Chakshuralmitanena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikas Swami Namane Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So today's verse and purport is heavily loaded. I don't know how much justice I would be able to do this, but let me give an attempt as a best to my ability. So, reading back to the same shloka, iti achena achutena bhitam vrajabala matva vivastra plavanam vratachutim tat purti kamas tad asesha karmanam sakshat kritam nemur avadya mriga yataha. Before reading the translation, there's a context, reference to context. We'll read the previous translation as well. Lord Krishna said, "You girls bathe naked while executing your vow, and that is certainly an offense against the demigods. To counteract your sin, you should offer obeisances while placing your joined palms above your heads. then you should take back your lower garments. The second shloka, does the young girls of Vrindavan, considering what Lord Achyuta had told them, accepted that they had suffered a fall down from their vow by bathing naked in the river. But they still desired to successfully complete their vow. And since Lord Krishna is himself the ultimate result of all pious activities, they offered their obeisances to him to cleanse away all sins, all their sins. So here, as yesterday itself, he pointed out, Padmanabh Prabhu, that other than these shlokas, there were choices of words being used by Shukdev Goswami called Achyuta. Now there's a big contrast here, where a pastime of Krishna wanted to see the gopis naked, but at the same time, he qualifies the word used called Achyuta. Achyuta means the infallible. Krishna never falls from his position. He is his transcendental position. He never ever gets attracted to the material energy. That's his position. And that's how it's been qualified as Achyuta. So it's a paradoxical in Bhagavad Gita as well, where before, in 13th chapter, where the chapter titled as Enjoyer, Nature, Enjoyer and Consciousness. In that, the super soul which is subordinate to Krishna, or the Brahman, Krishna classifies them like he tells, it is the same Brahman which is inside and outside. It is the same Brahman which is transcendental to the material energy, but yet it is a master. It's the same which it's the same Brahman which tries to devour and maintain. So this is paradoxical, it's difficult to understand. It's simultaneously one and different. Yeah, but to understand this, the object of knowledge is to understand Supreme. That's what Arjuna wanted to know. And then before trying to understand this, he gives a list of abilities, knowledge. What is the knowledge one has to gain in order to understand Krishna? It starts with humility, simplicity, accepting spiritual master, non-violence, the list goes. But that is the beginning of understanding who the Supreme Lord is. So here, people who doesn't know the subject matter of God or the absolute truth, they simply comment. And they comment that you are worshipping God who is immoral, who doesn't know the normal conduct of this society. So for that, to understand God, this first has to follow. That humility has to be there. First to accept spiritual master, simplicity, non-violence, detachment, renunciation, stopping sense gratification. The list goes big. And then only Krishna talks about what is to be known. Because it's not so easy for a normal, God is not a subject matter to be able to be caught in this mundane mind. By our logic, we may have very good intelligence, big PhDs, but that will not help us to understand God. For that, one has to cultivate some qualities of knowledge which is given by Lord Krishna to understand him. So here, again, Shukdev Goswami, as he's trying to explain this pastime, he is using the choicest of words. Is Achyuta, is not an ordinary person. He's infallible. There is no question of him coming down to the material platform. So that's one. And even to understand who is this pastime, people when they are talking about these derogatory remarks that God, who you are following God who is immoral, you have to understand this discussion, where they get this information, is discussion between Shukdev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. Who is this Shukdev Goswami? A person who was in a womb for 16 years in his mother for being afraid of material energy. He didn't want to enjoy material energy. On Krishna's request, he comes out and runs away from this particular, completely naked. Not bothered about avadhuta, not bothered about societal norms. But for the same ladies who were bathing, when he ran away, For him, because from the focus, they appeared. They were not afraid of him, but they were afraid of Vyasdev, who has established himself as established as a sage. But they immediately covered their garments. But when Shukdev Goswami passed, they were not even afraid. They were not even shy, because they knew that he is a different person. So this Shukdev Goswami is narrating this pastime and that is his qualification. He has no business to talk about any mundane things. His only talk is of higher, supra-mundane, of completely godliness, of Brahman, which is ultimate beyond this world, a transcendental nature. And here, the subject matter is spoken to? Parikshit, who is about to die. Both of them have forgotten their sleep, forgotten their hunger, thirst. These are the people who are discussing about Krishna, because it's so purifying, and they themselves are so cleaned, and they want to hear more and more about the pastimes of Lord Krishna. For us, it is difficult because we are yet to purify. But we learn lessons from these particular people that who are there. Same Arjuna, he again, when in the battlefield, he uses the word Achyuta, where he calls Ratham Stapaye Me Achyuta. We want to see who have come to fight with him in the battlefield. So he asked, how can he order the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lakshmi Pati? He knows his position, Arjuna. But he qualifies him. He can't tell, just go and take my... though Krishna, out of love, had taken this position of being a driver to Arjuna, Arjuna knows that what's his position. So he calls him, even if he wants to tell something that bring my chariot in front, he qualifies that statement by calling him Achyuta. So this word, Achyuta, tells us that this particular pastime is way beyond. This has nothing to do with enjoying girls or seeing naked women. So one should be very careful, as from the description itself of there's two great personalities, Shukdev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. We should be careful about using words. And some people who are in the ranks of Shishupal and all, Dantavakra, though Shishupal being a cousin, he couldn't digest the supremacy of Krishna. Why? Because of enviousness. When the enviousness comes in, when person sees equality, oh, what's the difference between me and him? It's the same two hands, the same, I'm a king. In fact, for him, you don't know his caste, he was a village boy. So he puts, because out of enviousness, what they get to see is how they are equal. But when there is something superior qualities, they become blind. Just like some people, when they see the king wearing royal robes, rich clothes, they say, oh, this king is supposed to be our representative. How he can dare to wear such rich, opulent clothes? Because there is enviousness in their heart. It may appear, it's a logic in the statement, but they forget that king is also a provider. You fool, you are not a provider. King, though you be equal, but the king is the provider. That they forget. Srila Prabhupada says this all owls. What does the owls do? In the daytime, the glaring sun, they close their eyes. And at night, with the dim light, they go and see everything. When the glaring light is there, they can't see because out of enviousness. There's a pastimes. Getting into this pastime, what Krishna did at the age of just barely few days, killed Putana, whose size was miles long. Her body was so huge. And various other demons, that they can't see. What they can see is only this, because they're all owl mentality. They try to, because it's of envious nature, they pull the person down. Just like in trade unions, like in factories where there are trade unions. The workers have a mentality What is this officer, what is this boss doing? He's simply sitting in the office and talking to people, signing checks. He doesn't do anything. It is we who are actually working. Because of us, it is the factory is running. This boss doesn't deserve to get the big pay. Actually, we are the people who are running the factory. This is the mentality of enviousness. They don't see what goes behind. They look what is common and pull the person down because they are blind like owls. So, this is an answer for pseudo moralist to see, open their eyes, what Krishna did before they understand, before commenting on the morality of Krishna. Secondly, here again, where you get to see is how demigod worshippers is condemned. In this entire shloka, towards the end, Srila Prabhupada says, nothing can compare to the Krishna consciousness of the gopis. Actually, the gopis did not care for Varun or any other demigod. They only wanted to satisfy Krishna. So here, though Krishna gives an warning to them that because you broke the vow, you went into the waters naked, and for that you have to appease Varuna and come without cloths and offer your obeisances, and that's how you will be purified of the sin. But actually for gopis, they didn't care who this Varuna, for whatever it is. For them, Krishna's word were true. Whatever Krishna has to say, they will obey, because for them, pleasure of Krishna is important. For they actually, before even to know who are these gopis, one should know that these girls are not ordinary people. The Shastra says there are 4 types of people who take incarnation. 4 or maybe 5. First is, this is the internal potency of the Lord. Expansion of the internal potency of the Lord. Expansion of Radharani. All these gopis. One among them, some of them were Shrutis, incarnation of Shrutis. The hymns of the Vedic literature, the Shrutis, out of love, intense love, the personified Shrutis, they were one among them. Then there were sages of Dandakaranya. When, in the previous yuga, when the sages were attracted by Rama's beauty in conjugal love, and because Rama had Ekapatni Vrata and the bodies were also not suitable, then Rama promises that next yuga, my next incarnation will be able to satisfy your desire. So this one among them were there. And perfected beings, the sadhak siddhas, who have perfected their sadhana, or nitya siddhas by the mercy of the spiritual masters, who have got entry into this Leela. These are the people, these are the souls, living entities who have taken the form of young damsels of Vrindavan. And these are the people. And therefore they know that who is Krishna. Avadyamrika is here word, Avadyamrik is mentioned. Avadyamrik is, he cleanses all the sins. They know Krishna. Who is Krishna? Avadyamrika. This is whatever we do, and they are actually not people of modern age. We don't know what is the aim of life. The Vedic life is, they only know 2 things. What is pap and what is pious activity. Their idea is to refrain from pap and then to catch on to piety. To do only pious things, because that will take them towards liberation. That will take them towards Krishna. This is the fundamental truth about Vedic culture. But right now, in the modern age, They don't know what is pap, they don't know what is punya. They may know only of moral, because they don't know there is something called soul, which ticks the body. The soul which makes the body run. The body may finish, but the soul still remains. The fundamental knowledge is not there, and hence they don't know what is pap and punya. For them, here, from the societal norms, by the rules of the police or the rules of the constitution, they may know what is moral laws. But beyond that, nothing. But for this, the young gopis, they know what is pap and what is punya, and they want to increase their piety. To get into Krishna consciousness, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that jananam punya karmanam, whose pious activity has become full, only those people can get into devotion of Krishna. For people who are sinful, there is no scope. They stay out of the business. So all these people who are here trying to comment, there is no scope on the immoral, so-called immoral activities of Krishna. It appear for them because Naham Prakasha Sarvasya. Krishna doesn't give them, manifest their pastimes. Pastimes in its true sense. They only get bewildered. They understand a distorted version of it. And they find this is right. What they've understood in their heart, they think this is the right thing. And they carry on with their sinful activities, carry on blaspheming Krishna, and go deeper and deeper down the lower species of life. So here we will see again how this particular gopis, they condemned demigod worship. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Devesha gunamai mama maya durattaya, mama eva prapadante maya metam tarantyati. Krishna clearly says here that whoever takes shelter of only me can only cross over this Devesha gunamai, this material ocean of three modes, the three modes of material nature. Only those people, they can cross her, otherwise not possible. Mameva, only Krishna is the key. Further he says, Sarva dharma parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. That you give up all your duties, so-called duties, which comes from the bodily platform, but just surrender unto me. And I take care of your sinful activities. Do not fear. Such a bold declaration by Krishna. But people who come to ISKCON sometimes, and they get bewildered by this is a wrong person, and because Krishna also declares, Kam Sata Rita Jnana, people whose intelligence, in spite of all these statements, people whose intelligence has been stolen by desires, because they have desires other than Krishna. Kam Sata Rita Jnana prapadyante anna devtaha. They worship other demigods. Because of they want to enjoy something other than Krishna. And then they start worshipping demigods. Because their desire is not, the intent in desire is not to get into the shelter of Krishna. Their desire is to satisfy their bodily needs. And then, to justify, they give this example of the gopis worshipping Katyayani. But they don't read the acharyas. The Katyayani is no other than the Yoga Maya. That is Radharani. And how we worship Radharani? By chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare, Hara, which is Radharani. We address Hara, Radharani. Both we worship together. The intention of young gopis is to get Krishna as the husband. And they are ready to do anything and everything for them. But here when it comes that they don't care whether they offended Varuna or not. For them it was Krishna has to be satisfied. Because mata parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya. Person who pens this Bhagavad Gita, who is that? Lord Ganesha. Yes, it was Bhagavad Gita was actually a part of Mahabharata. Mahabharata is dictated by Vyas Muni and dictation taken by Ganesha, Lord Ganesha. So he here announces, Mata Paradam Nahanya, there is no one supreme to me. Yet there are foolish people. Out of their weak-mindedness, they still worship Ganesha. These people worship their Kul Devtas because weak-minded, they don't have the faith in the words of Krishna. This only shows they need to only get more association of pure devotees. Then only their faith can become stronger. So moving to the next one is again here talked about, this Sakshat, the words Sakshat Kritam and Asesha Karmanam, that whatever piety we talked about, whatever piety, unlimited piety which can be only gotten, and whatever sinful activity was there, tinge of sinful, though they didn't have any, can be only vanquished or finished by the person in supreme. He's come in person, that is Sakshat Kritam. He is there right in front of them, and they know that they can destroy their sinful activity, can infuse a lot of piety just to get Krishna. So this is crystal clear for them, for the gopis of Vrindavan, and no other way to step out. But in the purport, as we move forward, there are two things talked about. First we'll talk about ISKCON, the standard of ISKCON followers, and Krishna's position. For people who are followers of ISKCON, it is quite clear that Krishna has a transcendental position. Transcendental position means, to understand, is beyond this particular world. The rules of the material world doesn't apply for him. He may act just to give people the direction of what is right and what is wrong. He may act, so it is important for us to know mostly his Vrindavan Leelas of killing demons and of his Dwarka Leela. These are all confidential Leelas. It is beyond, it will disturb. A person has not got his fundamentals clear, he will lose his track. So it's important to know Krishna has a transcendental position, and the followers who acts like a servant is only act as a servant to give pleasure to Krishna. And actually they are servant. They are acting as a servant because their position itself is servant in the spiritual world. Srila Prabhupada gives an example of a typewriter. A typewriter, what is his job? Is typing here in this material world. If you take the typewriter in the heaven, it will not do a different job. It's the same job, what? Of doing the typing job. So it is in our consciousness that we are not the enjoyers. Enjoyer is only Krishna. We are only to support his enjoyment, to give pleasure so that his enjoyment is enhanced. And because we are a secondary enjoyer, when Krishna is being enjoyed, then we feel Krishna is enjoying, then we feel the pleasure. Just for gopis, they see Krishna is happy, we are happy. That's the bottom line. So we have to practice this in our Krishna consciousness movement. So here it's mentioned that actually Krishna, he didn't want to enjoy them, he wanted to satisfy them. It's clear from this pastime that Krishna could understand the desire of gopis. How he could understand the desire of gopis? Because this is supposed to be a Mauna Vrata. Means usually young girls will never ever disclose whom they have looking for. And this is all a silent affair, yeah? And this Krishna could understand. And what vow? Vow of chilling, taking bath in chilled winters of Vrindavan, freezing cold water. This was their devotion for Krishna. They were ready to pay any price to get Krishna. They were able to get servant as Krishna as their husband so that they can serve him. So it looks like that this particular gopis, there is a norm that one should not take bath in naked form, because it's against the Shastras, it's against the codes of conduct, because you'll be offending Lord Varuna, who is the water personified. So it looks that they wanted to do this vow 1000% perfect. You understand? It's just like the passing mark is just studied these 2 chapters, but person who wants to see that no way that should not fail, I will study more than what is required. The requirement is 16 rounds. Some people, some devotees who are really fired up, they chant more rounds. But for people like me, somehow I chant 16 rounds. But for some people who are fired up, they chant 32 rounds. And it's easy for them because their focus is clear, what they want. And people like me who is Bahushaka Anantasya, because there is too many branches of the mind is not stable. Yet, by the association of pure devotees, it will come to stability very soon. There will be only one focus very soon. Looking at the life of acharyas, taking association of senior devotees, they will mold, they will tighten my screws so that I can be on that same track of having only one focus. So so coming to this, so it appeared that they wanted to ensure that they follow the vrata in the hardest way. There is no other scope left for them to see that they have not cleared these particular points of the vrata. So they may have made it more stricter than what is required, and hence they probably entered waters naked. And what? To get the hero of Vrindavan, Krishna. So that is their this is their hidden desire, an intense desire. And Krishna reciprocates, the Supreme Lord. But again, coming to the point, how did Krishna know? The same way Krishna knew about the Bhishma Dev's vow of killing the 5 Pandavas the next day. Nobody knew, but Bhishma had taken a vow. But Krishna knew because he's a Paramatma. And he asked Arjuna, go, take the 5 arrows from Bhishma. The same Gandharis summoned to Duryodhan, you come without cloth, and I will see that my Shakti of I have a lot of potency in my eyes, and I invest that potency into their body so that nothing can happen to you. How did Krishna know? Because he's Paramatma. He's there inside everyone's heart. The same Krishna who just by taking one broken sag leaf from the pot, he could satisfy 10,000 disciples and Durvas Muni himself, who Durvas, by just a slight offense in him, he would ready to give curses after curses. And same Durvas, he gets satisfied. The same Krishna, yes. So we have to have these things quite clear, who this Krishna is. Transcendental. He cannot be equated to this particular world, of the mundane affairs of this material world. This Krishna, now you see how he reciprocates. Not just mere husband, but something more than that. So that their love for Krishna becomes more intense. So how did it? Narada gives an example that in his, as a style of his maid servant mother, he got association of pure devotees, and then once his mother passed away, he went towards the north, and he got tired. He sat under some banyan tree, and as he was meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, on the Super Soul, as trained by the Bhakti Vedantas. So as he was concentrating, focusing on it, suddenly he was able to see the glimpse of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He could able to see that on his heart, the Lord has appeared. And he became very ecstatic. But next moment, the Lord disappeared. And he tried multiple times. The Lord disappeared, couldn't come back. Then, looking at his intense desire, then the Lord told him that because of some incompletion of your service and there's some material tinge, I will not be visible to you. But your only intense desire of seeing me, of reciprocation, you will purify yourself. And that same episode, Narad would be able to remember in his next life, and his next life is the next millennium. Here we forget what happened yesterday. But for Narad, this episode was quite lucid, quite clear in of this previous millennium. So what makes him that is that intense desire. Krishna fans the intense desire. It becomes more intense. So the love of Gopi, what does Krishna do after this? As is explained in chapter, he just goes away from the scene. But that fire is ignited into the heart of the gopis for them to again burn with that desire to have only Krishna. Yeah, so this is transcendental Krishna. We should be very careful. Again, sometimes in an interaction, that we should be knowing there is no scope for us to imitate Krishna's pastimes. The only scope for is to repeat Krishna's words. Sometimes people, devotees, may come under this particular arrangement where a boy and a girl comes together, and the boy may fall, prey, be victim to the demands of the lust. And he may say that actually I was trying to help the other person. I didn't do anything wrong. I was just trying to help. But one should be very careful. You cannot trust the senses and the mind. They always slip. There is no scope for us to be loose in our dealings with opposite sex. That I was trying to be helpful to the other person, but this should not be any sorry feeling in our lives. We should be very careful when we deal with opposite. What Krishna could do, because he is transcendental, we are just a mere sadhaka who just Srila Prabhupada would say that if I am to be sitting in an assembly of hundreds of beautiful naked ladies, nothing will happen to me. But you, my disciples, if one lady shows her armpit, you are finished. So this is our position. We should be very careful. Yeah. So there's another class which is talked about Prakrita Sahajas. Prakrita Sahajas is, I think the word is coined by Srimad Bhaktivinoda Thakur or Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, I don't know actually. But it is to differentiate between who are the genuine devotees and who are the pseudo devotees. Prakrita Sahajas, the word. Prakrita is mundane, Sahaja is easy. To develop genuine love for Krishna, there are steps. Yeah, it is not overnight. There is no shortcut business here. It starts with Adha Shraddha, Tatha Sadhu Sang, Atha Bhajana Kriya, Nishta, Atha Anartha Nivritti, Nishta, Ruchis, then Asakti, Bhava, Prema. But Prakrita Sahajas, what do? They do not know the fundamentals of how to develop love for Krishna. For them it is, because it's all mundane, for them it is easy. They don't understand that we are a spirit soul. They may understand theoretically, but they don't know how to apply it. For them, they think probably there are two, it's a mixed bag. One class of people who will think, act like a Krishna and try to enjoy girls. Another man who would be dressed like gopis, thinking that they will shoot the platform of gopis. And some gopis, some girls themselves, because they do not have shastric knowledge, only by mere emotions, they fall prey to this. They do not have the rationality to understand. They have to follow the regulatory principle. What is there in Bhagavad Gita? They don't touch. Because for them, it is for the lower people. And for them, it is doing thin actually in practice. Completely beware of the fundamentals. They jump into the sea. Without knowing to swim, they are jumping into the ocean. Very dangerous game. It's because the mentality is there of something getting cheap. This Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur would say this modern society is a cheated and being cheated. Someone gets an SMS on their mobile. You have won a 1 million lottery. And the person thinks, wow, I have been praying to Krishna and he has fulfilled my desire. And then he communicates with that particular person who has sent him that you have received $1 million lottery. The next thing says, yes, the money is locked here. You have to send us $1,000 of rupees and you can take the money. But these people want cheap money, cheap. They think, yes, my desire Krishna is fulfilling, and they gullibly send $1,000 to the person who is sitting somewhere out. And once the person receives that $1,000, all communication is closed. Yeah, 1,000 is gone. And that forget your $1 million lottery. Why this happens? Because the mentality is to get something cheap. Somebody sells on the space, this is a diamond, and I'm giving you this for a very low price, because the person who is actually selling he wants the money in cash. He's in need of money. And the person, because he wants to make a good deal, thinking that I'm doing a good deal, he buys a piece of glass for thousands of rupees. Cheated. There is no shortage of these people. Easily the society is full of scamsters, because there are people who are going to buy into their ideas because they want something cheap, nothing which is high. Yeah, so it starts with, I'm not this body. But for the Prakata Sahajas, they think that just by enacting the way Krishna enacted his pastimes, probably we will become God. This is one of the theories is going, that they think all these particular Babas, they get together. They think that if people worship me as God, I will become God by vote. They can't get, this doesn't happen by vote. And this is, you are there only by the body. The body is finished, your votes are finished. They don't understand it's a spiritual platform. The normal fundamentals is missed. For them, ephemeral sensual satisfaction, when they come together, male and female, so-called Rasila, they come together. That ephemeral pleasure of the senses, they think it is a Brahma Sukh. And the same, the glass piece, they think it is a diamond. Till somebody tells that what you are wearing is a glass piece, not diamond. Otherwise they show, this is my diamond. The same thing, these people understand sensual platform pleasures as Brahma Sukh. They don't understand that yehi samsvarjya bhoga adi dukhyona yonate. So it is the senses which require some contact to have some pleasure. There's a beginning and end, and the intelligent, they don't partake into this because they know it's not going to stay forever. It's ephemeral. These are people who are intelligent people. They know this is not the Sukh. The Sukh is a Brahma Sukh. It is related only with the spirit. It's with communion with the Lord, not with this body. But for this, all these Prakrita Sahajas, Brahma Sukham. A diamond ring, a diamond, they think, a glass, a shining piece of glass, they think as diamond. All their endeavors for perfection is shattered. On the contrary, they enter into the deepest hell for having taken the body, human form of life, not able to discriminate what is religion, what is irreligion, but taken to the animalistic form of life. So Krishna makes arrangement. Why you want human form? Take animal, go take training in hell and go become an animal. Yeah, so secondly, it's talked about just few shots because talked about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, same Krishna who appeared 5,000 years back, displayed all these beautiful pastimes, comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 500 years back. He shows by example how one should able to get Krishna. It requires devotion. It requires effort to able to get Krishna. And what he does is showing by celibacy. For him, the same Krishna here in his pastimes of teaching how do you follow the footstep of achieving Krishna is celibacy. For him, even to see a doll, a wooden doll, he would not do it. Because that is against, for him, the Vedic principle, because he thinks that mind will get agitated. There's nothing to agitate Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mind. It's for us we need to take care. There's these thoughts can spring up. Today it may be easy, but in the turbulent time, during the hour of crisis, these thoughts will spring up from our mind and will put us in danger. So it's very important that we stop. There should be stricter norms how we should be dealing with opposite sex. For him, even his followers will offer pranam from distance. There was no chance of he talking loosely with women. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And his followers, who are some big ministers, to follow the examples, because they also wanted to attain Krishna. They gave up their opulent life, took to sannyas, Babaji ashram, just like that. They gave up money just like that, just like all this, whatever belongings they have, with no attachment. And just loin cloth. Even for Sanatan Goswami, his brother-in-law gifted him some Kashmiri shawl. Brother-in-law, affection for brother-in-law, yes, Kashmiri shawl. But just to give pleasure to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave up that, he exchanged with the beggar of that Kashmiri shawl with some lion cloth. And looking at this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu becomes very happy. This is our acharyas who is following this level of renunciation, the level of celibacy. So yes, time is coming closer. With this I conclude. If anyone has any question, comments to say. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय।